Well, hello class. Welcome to the middle, I guess, of Unit 7. Hope your week is going well so far. Hey, a couple things I wanted to mention to you. Remember I had mentioned that I'm going to do all that I can to get you your vocational calling papers back as soon as possible. I'm going to do everything I can to get them back this evening, which means you'll probably have them if you see them in your inbox as far as Sakai goes. First thing in the morning. So and here's the thing, if I don't get all of them done tonight, I'm going to do all that I can to get them completed and back to you at the very latest Friday of this week. But if I don't get all of them done tonight, I'm not going to return any of them. And here's the reason why. I don't want, I know students talk, and I don't want you to say, hey, I got my paper back and I didn't get mine back. And so I want to be fair and make sure that you get them all at the same time. And I'm going to do all that I can to get them back very quickly because I know that you have some vested interest in seeing what you got so that you can know where you stand going into the final week of the term. And that totally makes sense. So I'm going to do all that I can to get those back to you as quickly as I possibly can. Okay, so trying to get them done. I was hoping I could accomplish more than I was able to yesterday. So if I can't get them back to you tonight, just remember that by the latest Friday night. Okay, so they're coming, and then you'll have your grades, and that'll give you a good week to work on everything else as your final projects are due. Okay, so a couple things about those final projects. I want to provide just a little bit more overview and information as far as what I'm looking for, what you should expect to be working on, expectations and all of that. Okay, so if you go into Sakai, you will see in the assignments section that there are actually two assignments. Okay, you'll see one of them is titled Treatment Plan. Okay. And the treatment plan that you are going to be completing, which I'll go over here in a second, is based upon the actual case of Leslie. So Leslie is an individual, a character that we saw in the Swanson and Fuad text that is referred to in the syllabus as a suggested reading, but not a required reading. Okay, so Leslie, there's a whole chapter dedicated to Leslie, and so what I have done is I have pulled information from Leslie's case, and I've given you about a one-page document of her case, okay, that you'll read through. So it's in addition to being in the assignment section of Sakai, you will also see that it has been added as an addendum, right? So an appendix, the appendices A in your syllabus. So if you go to the very end of the syllabus, you will see that there is the case study of Leslie, okay? So when you're completing your treatment plan, it's important that you remember that the treatment plan is based upon the case of Leslie, okay? So as you're working on that project, and you go, wait a second, what am I writing about? You're working on the case of Leslie, and that's really important to keep in mind, okay? So I'm going to reiterate that again so I don't get a lot of emails. Hey, what am I supposed to refer to? You're referring to Leslie, okay? And that's the case, again, provided through the text in Chapter 4 of Swanson and Fuad, not a required book, one that you don't have. So I've plucked that information out, and I've typed it up into a Word document that's on your syllabus, and then there's a PDF that's included in the treatment plan assignment itself. Okay, so you have the treatment plan, and then you have a synthesis video. Okay, and I want to tell you why I have decided to go with a synthesis video. So you write a lot of papers, right? So, and it's funny, I was making comment, I was talking to some junior high and high schooler students yesterday. We were talking about leadership, and I was asked to come speak at a leadership summit, and so I shared some thoughts, and we talked about how we write things, and even as I was saying write, I was doing this with my fingers as if to show that I was typing. So we say write, but what we really are doing is typing. But I know that so call it write, call it type. You write, you type a lot of papers, and so I've had this kind of this idea in my mind that as we think about academic rigor, who's to say that rigor only takes place by way of doing paper writing? Well, I don't think that it always does. In fact, I think that sometimes we can write papers, and to write papers is really just kind of, well, that's what everyone else is doing, so I'm going to also write papers, and I don't think that that's always the best approach, especially when we're focused on academic rigor, okay? So a couple of semesters ago, I made the decision that we were going to do not paper writing, but I was going to have you think through some specifics of your experience in this class, and instead of writing a 7 to 10 page paper as we've done in the past, you would do a 10-minute video, okay? So, and here's why I've done that. If you go in your syllabus to page, I believe it is, let's see, I don't have the page numbers here in front of me, but page 6. If you go to page 6, you will see that they're in there in the colorful, at least in the document that's been uploaded to Sakai, maybe not if you printed it, but you see there is the Bloom's taxonomy, okay? And so if you're familiar with Bloom's and the taxonomy of learning, you'll remember that you have the bottom, you have remember, then understand, then you have apply, analyze, evaluate, and then this highest kind of echelon of learning we would communicate as being create. So, and a description for create, the kind of the apex, the climax, if you will, of this triangle, is that we are to create, which means that we are to produce new or original work. Okay, so I'm looking for you to produce new or original work in these final assignments. Okay, so you're communicating by way of application that you understand and remember the content, and you are showing that you've analyzed and evaluated all the content to create this new or original work. Okay, so as you get in there, I want us to spend some time looking at these two final assignments. I'm going to go over them, and then if you have any questions, of course, feel free to call, to email, to come by my office, and we can talk about them as you see fit. All right, so the first part of your final assignment is the synthesis video. Okay, so here again we will talk about this. So it used to be a 7 to 10 page paper, now it's a 7 to 10 minute video. Okay, so students will record a 7 to 10 minute video, including audio and visual, detailing their overall learning in the class. The video should include a brief discussion of the students' thoughts on what career development was before they started. So what I'm really looking for is almost this, you know, if you kind of retroactively look back to where you were when you started the class. What was it that you thought about career development? How did you think about it? You heard these terms. What came to mind? What did you think about career development? And then I want you to talk, kind of fast forward, and I want you to talk about, now, what do you think? How do you think about career development? And so what you've done then is from where you were to where you currently are is there was a gap that you filled that gap in by way of learning new information. What was it that caused for your, potentially, your thoughts to change from where you were to where you are, okay? All right, so students should include references to at least 3 career development theories and or techniques that were discussed in the Anderson and Vandehee and or the Liptak text. Okay, this is important that you hear that. These theories or techniques are not, please hear me, they're not something that you read about in your vocational calling book. Okay, that's important theoretically, and even from a technical standpoint, that's important and it's relevant. But those are not the theories or techniques that we're discussing in this portion of the assignment. Okay, because I'm gonna give you more information on that here in a bit. Nor are they the content pieces that you found in reading the Rath text on well-being. Okay, those are not career development theories or techniques. All right, so these theories or techniques should be discussed in combination with the ideas of vocation. Okay, remember you had that book in the vocational calling book of choice, and the 5 elements of well-being. So what you're then doing is you're synthesizing all of the content. So these are my three theories or techniques, and this is how I see them connecting with well-being and vocational calling. So in a lot of ways, you have already done bits and pieces of this, but now you're communicating these things by way of showing the big picture of what was explored in the class and how it all connects, okay? These ideas, they may seem to be a bit disparate, but students should provide clear connections between the concepts, okay? Okay, so video should serve as a sort of archive for students to reflect back on when they are thinking about how the course fit into the rest of their overall program in the MA in Clinical Psychology program. Okay, you can read through the rest, but basically what I'm looking for you to do is I want you to discuss your experience in this class. Okay, students should discuss how they will personally use their newly acquired information in the overall scope of their therapy or counseling practice, even if they never specifically or directly operate as a career counselor. Okay, students must share the 3 most useful things that were gained in the class and share 1 to 2 things that most surprised them during their time of learning. Additionally, an intentional emphasis should be placed on how career development theories and techniques specifically connect to various theories and techniques that have been explored in the rest of the MA in Clinical Psychology program. Okay. In addition, students are required to provide a 1 to 2 page handout-like document that clearly outlines the content discussed in the video. Okay. Consider the presentation of the video and the handout as something you would give to somebody who is not in the class and that is not familiar with the field and study of career development. but is somewhat familiar with clinical psychology. Okay? So students want the reader and the viewer to walk away from watching the video and reading the handout with a sense that the greater whole of the class was communicated in a meaningful way and feeling as though the presenter, you, the student, is well informed in the field and study of career development. Okay? So you want to be as thorough as you possibly can. Okay? Make sure that you're reading through the rest of the description, and then if you have questions, let me know. And here's what I would say. Read through this assignment description multiple times. I would say at least 3 times. Map out your talk, okay? What is it you're going to say? What are your points? And then basically you're doing your handout. But be thorough. Don't just, wake up, turn the computer on, and take a video, right? So no, you really need to be thoughtful. So basically what you're doing is figure out how to record, whether it's on your phone, or if you're on I use an Apple computer, so I always record through Photo Booth. And then you can upload it right up to YouTube, or if there's another way that you like to do videos, then of course do it that way too, okay? Dress professionally, talk professionally, and so forth. Make sure, watch the video multiple times before you submit it, okay? So you're going to upload the video, the URL to Sakai. You're going to figure out how to get, visuals in there. So maybe it's a PowerPoint presentation where you're doing it in the background or something. But anyway, if you have questions, let me know, okay? And I'll go more into detail as we talk more about this next week, okay? A couple things to keep in mind. Videos over 10 minutes will receive a reduction in grade, okay? So it must be no more than 10 minutes, and it must be no less than 7. Here's what I would say, though. It's going to be very hard to cover everything that I've included in this assignment in only 7 minutes. So I've seen people try, and it's not been fully successful, okay? So you're really looking at about 10 minutes to cover everything, and I think that's very doable. All right. If you have questions about uploading the video, please let me know. I'm happy to help you. Okay. So second thing, this one's pretty simple, the treatment plan, as far as kind of the details of it. But for purposes of the second part of the final, okay, you will use at least the 3 theories or techniques, okay, that were discussed in the synthesis video part 1. So you've already been thinking about these things. The treatment plan will be in response to the case of Leslie, so see syllabus Appendix A, as well as that which has been included in the actual assignment tab in Sakai. Now keep in mind, there's no minimum page count requirement for this assignment. However, it must be thorough, thoughtful, and complete. Okay? Referring to the case of Leslie, students will write up a mock treatment plan following the format included in Chapter 3 of Treatment Planning in Career Counseling. Okay? Make sure to include the following sections in the treatment plan. You can see those there, 1 through 6. Okay, intake, assessment through evaluation, and termination. Keep in mind that you may not have entire information subsets to speak to certain aspects of the plan. So you may have to conjure up some of the details, such as what is to be included in the intake, assessment, and evaluation and termination phases. Okay? For the intake assessment, please follow the template as seen in the case of Gary in Chapter 12. Okay, so make sure you read over that before you do this. And again, read over this assignment multiple times. Read over the content in the book multiple times so that you are thorough, thoughtful, and complete in your assignment. Okay, this is your chance to play career counselor. Clearly, you won't be able to address every issue or option that should or could be discussed. What are the most important aspects of Leslie's story that need to be addressed? What would be your goal at the end of this brief encounter? How would you bring even a little resolve to the situation during the first meeting? Okay. The goal with this video, the second part of the final assignment, is not to solve all of Leslie's problems. No, rather it is to show that you have thoroughly and critically thought through your approach to how you might best address Leslie's career-related needs, and that you fully understand the theories and techniques that you chose to use in Leslie's situation. Okay, these assignments, they're both due at 11:59 with 59 seconds on the Friday of Unit 8. Okay, so they're due for a total of 20 points, and they're 10 points each. Okay, so 20 points total for the final assignments, 10 points apiece. Okay, so be thorough. I can't stress enough. Make sure that you read the assignment prompts multiple times. Please read them multiple times. Watch the video back. Proofread your final treatment plan, your handout, and then upload those to the assignment section in Sakai by the date that they're due. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to make sure to point you in the right direction if you have questions about that. Come by the office. Happy to talk. Have a great time. I think this is a fun assignment. It's a good way to end the term. I look forward to seeing the final products.